Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel, stitch.rach here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It is Thursday the 25th of January and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about my cross stitch. Hi everyone, I've done something on time for once. Today I am going to film my WIP Parade, my 2024 WIP Parade. Last week when I did a Flosstube, finally did a Flosstube, I said next week I'll do a WIP Parade and I'm actually here when I said I'd be. So I love WIP Parades. I really enjoy this time of year and enjoy watching everyone's WIP Parade, and it just makes me want to buy all the things. But if I'm honest with myself, my own WIP Parade is, here are projects I once started, and since I started them something shinier and newer has come along and stolen all my attention. So here's the things that have been neglected for a very long time. I don't know if everyone feels like that about their WIPs, but I certainly do. I used to be a monogamous stitcher, believe it or not. It was very much you start it, you finish it, you move on to the next. Before I started watching Flosstube and going on Instagram. And now I'm very much not a monogamous stitcher. Having said that, I'm kind of semi-monogamous because, she says with 28 WIPs, because I get into a routine with something. So I'm not one of those stitchers that stitches something different on a Monday night to a Tuesday night to a Wednesday night. I think that would drive me a bit doolally. So I do kind of give things at least a week at a go. Sometimes a bit longer. Sometimes I stitch to the finish. But anyway, I have WIPs to show you today. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to talk about anything else. I'll try and come back with, depending on how much I stitch this week, I'll either do a proper Flosstube next week, which will be, well, if I do it on Thursday, it'll be the 1st of February, won't it? So maybe I'll try and aim for the 1st of February and we can think about plans for February together. But yeah, today I am just going to go through my WIPs, and also I'm hoping I can get it all done in one recording, because I have it's now 1 o'clock, literally bang on 1 o'clock. And I have a hard stop at 2 o'clock because I have to go to my children's school for a meeting. Not anything, just one of those, this is what we're going to be learning this term meetings. Have you got any questions? So yeah, I have a hard stop at 2 o'clock. So I have, for once, actually got myself organised. I have a list of my WIPs. I have a list of some stats around those WIPs. And where I am. So would you like to start with some stats? So last year when I sat down to do my WIP Parade, I had 32 WIPs. And I said I'd like to get that number down. I did. I achieved that. I am about to show you 28 WIPs. So, not down as much as I would like, but 4 done is, you know, it's alright. Well, 4 off the total number. I did finish more than 4 things. I finished 10 things in 2023. And I have finished 2 already in 2024, both of which I showed you last week, both of which were started and finished since my last WIP Parade. I started 6 things in 2023, and I've started 3 things already in 24, but obviously 2 of those are off, so really only 1 you're going to see in this WIP Parade, and I UFO'd 1 thing last year. Not because I don't want to stitch it, I do want to stitch it. I took it to the Essex Needles retreat in March and realised my fabric was orientated the wrong way. So that had to be a UFO, and I haven't restarted it yet. So yeah, 23 things. I have 4 WIPs from pre-2020. I'm about to show you. I have 6 WIPs from 2020, 4 from 2021. Nah, is that 10? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. My mental arithmetic failed me. 10 from 2022, 2 from 2023, and 2 from 2024. Sorry. Yeah, when I said I'd started 3 in 2024 and finished 2 of them. No, I started 3 and finished 1. My other 2024 finish was a 2023 start, but it's still started unfinished since the last WIP Parade, if you follow me. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll try and tell you as much information as I can about the WIPs along the way. I'll try and put as much information about suppliers and stuff in the description box below. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, drop me an email, message me on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram, all the things. Always happy to hear from you. Right, shall we crack on? Because as I say, I do have a hard stop at 2 o'clock. Can I get through the lot? Can I get through all 28 in an hour? We shall see. We shall see. I'm going to attack these in chronological order. I did sit down and organise them earlier. So my first WIP. What is my first WIP? This is my very, very oldest WIP. And it is a map of Kent. It's just called Kent, actually. Basically a map of Kent, which is the county I live in, and it is by it's part of the Britain in Stitches series by Heritage Crafts. I'm pretty sure these are all still available on their website, either as a full kit or a chart. Mine was just the chart version. I started this, I'm not entirely sure, I wasn't keeping accurate records. I know it was after my second child was born, before my first child was born. So that would be an amazing time warp scenario, wouldn't it? After my second child was born, before my third child was born. Also know I started it before my parents' Ruby wedding anniversary. No. Oh no, I'm not sure. No, I must have started it. Oh, see, I really don't know. After my first child was born, before my second child was born. Yes, that makes more sense. Yes, so I think it was around about 2014. And then I was stitching on it. This was when I was still a monogamous stitcher, and I put it down because the only time I broke monogamous stitching was to stitch a gift. And I stitched something for my parents' Ruby wedding anniversary, which is why this was put down. So I think this was started in 2014. This, despite last year at the beginning of my WIP Parade saying my focus is going to be on my older WIPs and I want to get the Kent map finished this year, I did nothing on it last year at all. Didn't pick it up once in 2023. I have, however, picked it up in 2024 because I'm serious this year. Some of this stuff needs to get done. It needs to get done. So it's had about 3 nights in the last few days since I finished something else that you'll see in a minute. Well, finished a section of something else that you'll see in a minute. But anyway, here is where it is. So, can you see it all? So it's a bit in 2 parts. So most of this over here, all this coastline and all these things in the middle that are not backstitched, I did when I started it a few years ago. And it's had a bit of attention now and again, but not a lot. And then when I picked it up the other night, where I'd put it down was somewhere on this little bit of coastline here. And I decided that I was actually going to section complete instead. Because if I have to go back in at the end. So back then I always used to stitch all the full cross and then do all the back stitch. And I looked at it and I thought, if I have to go back in and back stitch all that stuff, it's never going to happen. So I decided section completing was probably the way forward. So in the last 3 or 4 nights, I've put in all these names. I've done quite a bit of this coastline. I've put in these rivers. I've done these buildings. There's a factory up there somewhere, up here. So yes, and now I'm putting in some hills, which are a bit faffy. And I think I am gonna just stretch my thread around the back, which is a bit bad. But yeah, I think if I try and tie those off, they're all just going to come out. So yes, and I really would like to finish this year. It is a tricky stitch. I'm not gonna lie. It's not. You get this with a lot of Heritage Crafts kits. If you've never stitched one, they really love a fractional stitch, and I don't just mean like a quarter stitch or a 3/4 stitch in the corner, they like squash a whole cross stitch into like half a stitch space vertically or horizontally. And when they're doing back stitching, they often go over like 3 threads instead of 2 threads or 4 threads. So I'm finding on some of the place names where they've gone over 3 threads, because it did say, I think this is the 27 or 28 count linen, some kind of cream linen. I don't know what exactly. And it does say somewhere on the chart recommended to stitch on 27 count linen, but because you're doing the back stitch in 1 thread on 27, I'm getting a lot of slippage sometimes on the back stitch. So it is fiddly. I am having to be really careful. And also the charts are written in a really weird way. So they're nice big charts, but they're those charts that semi look like they're hand drawn, if you know what I mean, which I always find those a bit more challenging. And it's actually 2 charts, so it's split down the middle about here. So you've got East Kent and West Kent on 2 different charts. And then the actual houses and whatnot, like this one here. So there's a whole separate sheet with the chart for the buildings on, and it's not laid out like fully like the chart. So this sounds mad. So on the actual chart that's got all the coastline and everything on, they just put the back stitching for the building that you're going to stitch there, and then you have to go onto this other chart and find that building, but they're all just on there, and it says, oh, if you line up the arrows then it's in the right vertical alignment, but you basically have to go through and find the building that you're meant to be stitching. It's a bit of a faff. It is a bit of a faff. And then there's a whole sheet of notes, like I had to get the note sheet to find out what colour I was meant to stitch these hills in, because that's not noted on the chart. There's a whole separate chart with stitch the rivers in this, stitch the hills in this, stitch the... Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, but it is a fairly challenging stitch. There's a few blends as well. I don't mind a blend, but you know, it's just another thing. So I'm going to give this one to the end of January as my main evening stitching project, which still gives me, what, like over a week. Just under a week now? We're just under a week. Anyway, a good few days. It'll have had about 10 days stitching in January, and then I'll pull out something else, because I don't think I could just stitch on this all the time, because as I say, it is quite faffy. But there you go. That is my oldest WIP. So that is number 1. Started, I think, in 2014. Sometime, so it's going to be 10 this year ish. I don't think it's 10 already. I think it's 10 this year. So wouldn't it be nice to get it done for its decade birthday? I think that'd be nice. There's number 1. Hurrah, hurrah. Right, number 2. This was started, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. No, it's gone again. It's gone again. This was started in January. No, I was going to sneeze. January 2018. I don't have a specific date, but January 2018. And this is a terrible cover picture. Terrible. I'm going to hold it back because it looks a bit better. It's a full-on money. If you're a 40-something year old clueless fan like I definitely was, it's a full-on money. It looks better back here than it does if I put it closer. So this was a Lakeside Needlecraft Stitch Along by Shannon Christine Designs, exclusive to Lakeside Needlecraft. And I joined this. This is when I just kind of found the joys of Instagram and Flosstube and cross-stitch groups on Facebook. And I was full of the enthusiasm, and I was like, yes! I'd never heard of a mystery cell. I'm like, what is this amazing concept? So I signed up for the mystery cell. And how many years old is this now? 6 years old. This is the sum total of my stitching on this piece. I think that's still part 1. It may be part 2. Maybe the border. I think the border was part 1, which I haven't finished. And then part 2 was that house. Yeah. I never know what to do. So we spoke about this last year. I don't like FFOing stuff. I tend to own the FFO stuff if there's something wrong with it. So I think since I've been doing Flosstube, I think there's 2 pieces I've not FFO'd. I don't like FFOing stuff either. That was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? I don't like UFOing stuff. I think there's only 2 things I have UFO'd since I started doing Flosstube, and they were both because there was something wrong with them. So one was the piece I UFO'd last year because the fabric was in the wrong orientation and I wasn't going to have enough to finish the piece, and I do intend to restart it. I just haven't done so yet. And the second was a long dog sampler where just the thread and the fabric was not working, and so just knock that on the head. And again, I do intend to restart it, I just haven't done so. This one, I mean, it's 6 years old, and I never sit there and think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to start to pick up seasonal streets? Never ever think that. I love the fabric. It's a 36 count even weave in the colour, I think it's still exclusive to Lakeside Needlecraft, Lilac Sky. It's a fabric flare printed one. I think you can still get this on their website. The fabric, beautiful. I just nothing about it excites me. Nothing about it excites me. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm stitching it in all the called for DMC. I'm going to do what I did with it last year. I'm just going to put it away again and go. You can just, it's not harming anyone. Just sitting there, minding its own business. It's not harming anyone. So I think we'll just do that again this year. We'll just pop it away. And you never know. One of these years, I'll pull it out from my WIP Parade and I'll go, that is what is missing in my stitching life. That is what is missing. So that's number 2. Right, we now move on to 2019. So yeah, I've only got 2 pre-2019 WIPs. The 2 from 2019 are massive. Both of them are massive. So the first one I'm going to show you will be familiar to any of my regular viewers and subscribers. This was started on the 27th of January. So that's on Saturday, isn't it? That's Saturday. 2019. So it will be 5 on Saturday. And it's cardinal points. I love this chart. I love everything about how it looks. I don't like most things about stitching it, and I don't know why. I don't. It's become a real labour of love. I want it finished. I want it, there's a needle mud on here, I'm just going to take off. I want it on my wall. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I just don't enjoy stitching on it. Why is that? Why? I'll show you where I am in a minute. I did have a fairly good push on this at the beginning of last year, having gone, this is my year, I want to get some of these things done. And I think this is another thing I said, I absolutely want this finished by the end of 2023. Well, it's not finished. It's not actually even halfway, but it is much, much further along. It is. The fabric's too big as well. I need to cut the fabric down. I think that's part of the reason it drives me mad. It's, isn't it pretty? I just hate stitching on it. I think it's because that border, which is one of the best things about looking at it, is a right pain in the bum to stitch. It's got all these different greens in it. I think it's got 1, 2, 3, at least 4 different greens in. And they're all just like tiny little bitty bits here and there. And I just really struggle to get into a rhythm with it or anything. But it needs to be done. It cannot hang over me. It cannot hang over me for another year. And I know some people have loved stitching this chart. I found great, I think I started it and then didn't, you know how when you start a new project and you're full of that start zeal, I suppose, for want of a better word. And I started it at a time I really had no business starting things. I really had too much on my plate, and not just like a lot of WIPs, but WIPs with deadlines, WIPs that actually had to be stitched. And so it just never got any of that initial love. And so then every time I picked up it's been like, oh, there's still so much to go. I'm stitching it on 36 count white, so I got linen. I'm stitching in all the called for Gentle Arts threads. It's a Cardinal Points chart designed by Julia Line of Long Dot Samplers, but it's exclusive to Gentle Arts. It's only charted in Gentle Arts, and you can only buy it from someone with a wholesale account from Gentle Arts. They have to order it from Gentle Arts. So Lakeside Needlecraft in the UK stock it. They're where I got my copy from. They didn't stock it at the time, and they were really helpful and lovely, and I rang them and they said yes, we can order that for you, and they did, and I think they've actually stocked it as a physical copy ever since. So, you know, well done to Lakeside Needlecraft. It was great customer service. That's where I am. My plan for this, oh, and I've spilt wine all over the bottom of it, natch, because it's mine. And I am going to cut the fabric down. The first thing I'm going to do before I stitch on it again, because look how massive, I don't know what I was thinking. Look how massive this fabric is. I literally, look at it all. Yes, that's part of the reason I hate it, as well as that blooming blanket. First thing I'm going to do before I stitch on it again is cut this blinking fabric down. Anyway, my plan is I'm going to stitch on this. Oh, so I'm going to stitch on that Kent map until the end of January. And then I'm going to get this out in February. It's like 2024, the year of torturous cross-stitch projects. But they've got to be done. And I want them done. I want to hang them on my wall. I just need the, well, this one in particularly. I just don't particularly love stitching on. The colour palette in the gas is just beautiful. Just look at it. Look at it. I mean, it's fabulous. I should love stitching on it. I just don't. Sorry about that. I just got a message saying my memory card was full. That was Cardinal Points. Anyway, I pretty much whinged to the point no one can bear it about that one. Right, where are we? Need to speed this up a bit, don't I? Because I've done 3 in 20 minutes. Right, number 4. Now, you've all seen this recently. This was started, this is a birthday start. This was started on the 4th of September 2019. I showed this last week. This is Village of Hawk Run Hollow, which I love. I love stitching on it. This is not like Cardinal Points. I love everything about it. It just doesn't come out to play very often, and I don't really know why. It should come out to play more often than it does. Anyway, so since you saw it last week, I have finished block 2. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. There we go. This is stitched on 32 count June in the words by Chromatic Alchemy. It's stitched in the DMC charted conversion. I absolutely love it. It's taken me, I said 6.5 years on Instagram. See, I can't add up, can I? I can't. If it was started in September 2019, it's only 4.5 years. That's nowhere near as bad. Because I said, oh, this week's going to take me 32 years to finish it. Let's do a quick back of the 5 packet. So 4.5 years. And I've got 10 left to stitch. That's worse than 32 years, no? Oh, God, I think I've got my maths all wrong on Instagram. Hold on. 4.5 times. Oh, no, because it's taken me 4.5 to do 2 blocks. There's only 5 blocks left. So only 22.5. See, I've shaved the whole 10 years off. It's only going to take me 22.5 years to do it. You need to pick up the pace, Rachel. You need to pick up the pace on this one. So again, I would like to get some more done on this one this year. This is on my WIP Go board. In fact, Everything I've shown you apart from seasonal streets, which we're just pretending isn't a thing. Everything I've shown you so far is on my WIP Go board. Kent Map's down for a finish. Cardinal Points is down for a finish. Hawk Run Hollow is actually only down for this block to be completed. They're two quite big projects. I just want them done. I'm so over them. I just want them done. Whereas this I still love. Isn't that mad? I hate stitching on those, so I'm going to really push for the finish on those. This I love stitching on. This can hang around for a longer time. I just need to get momentum on those, and I need to get them done. If I have time to stitch more on this one, fabulous. Fabulous. But I would like this really to be my only proper WIP, because as I say, we're not talking about seasonal streets. My only proper WIP going into 2025. It's a big beast. I'm not going to get this and both of those finished this year. It's not possible, even if the model stitcher stitched it in 49 days. I was just crazy talk. Just crazy talk. Oh, I haven't been talking about in project bags. Oh, to be fair, this was Cardinal Points was the first one in a nice project bag. This is the House of Stitch and Stash project bag, as is this one that Hawk Run Hollow is in. Cool. So that is everything that predates 2020. I think I said last year I wanted to focus on some of my 2020 WIPs to kind of whip them down. And in the end, I don't think I really whipped any of them down. No, I didn't whip any down. I didn't finish anything I started in 2022 last year. I did manage to whip down loads of 2021 starts, so there you go. I think there were some of those were a bit smaller. Right, WIP number 5. I've been stitching on this one recently as well. So I needed a new out and about project, having finished my wordplay for January, and so I had a look at my WIPs because I was doing my WIPs for this. I was kind of writing them all down, and this was the oldest WIP that would be a realistic out and about stitching project, because the ones I've shown you so far just are not. You can't sit in a car and stitch those, it's not possible. So this is in a new project bag. I bought this in the last since I last filmed a Flosstube. This is by Penelope's Pocket. It's amazing. It's amazing. Absolutely love it. I had my eye on it for a while. She's had them on her website for a while. I think she has one more. They're not exactly the same. They've got a slightly different, obviously, pictorial scene. There you go. So that's mine. A lovely tassel, as always. And this has in it, eventually one day it might have a black sampler in it. But right now, because it's kind of French, it has in my Three Musketeers Stitching Book Club SAL. I started this as a SAL on the 26th of January 2020. And really, again, it had not had much love. And so I pulled it out. And here is where it currently is. So, still a way to go. But I have at least finished part 1. So the only thing on here that isn't part 1 is this bit here that I've just started in the last couple of days. So everything up, those suns, those fleur-de-lis, the vine, that's all part 1. But I finally finished that a couple of days ago, and there hasn't been much out and about stitching this week. A couple of things have been cancelled. There was no swimming stitching yesterday because the swimming teacher's poorly, so swimming was cancelled. So there hasn't been a lot this week. I'm stitching this on, what's this fabric? What is, I don't know if I know what fabric it is. It was a Crafty Kitten fabric, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I still know what it was. But given they're out of business, it's a 32 count, some form of blue. I've probably got it written down somewhere. But Crafty Kitten are no longer in business, so you couldn't buy it even if you wanted it. And I'm stitching it with my colour conversion thread. So it was originally charted in DMC, and I decided it would be good to do a stash buster. And so these are either classic Colourworks, Gentle Arts, Colour and Cotton, so a whole mix of things in there. But it's mainly kind of a white and taupey type of palette. And then I have talked to you about these scissors. These scissors are new to me scissors. They are a week old. I know they look like nothing special. These are fishing braid scissors. I don't know what fishing braid is. But I took this out of the project bag it was in last Thursday and realised I hadn't, because I just picked it up that afternoon, I hadn't got any scissors in the project bag. And I'm like, that is a bummer. You know, this is what I brought with me to do for out and about stitching. And on a Thursday, one of my children does a ukulele lesson in this guitar shop in the village we live near. And it's a bit random, this shop. So it mainly sells kind of string instruments. So guitars, ukuleles, the occasional violin. And then like the accoutrement, so like, you know, like amplifiers and guitar stuff and guitar stands. But it also has like this little bit of a gift shoppy bit in it. And then it also has a fishing section. I think one of the guys who runs it is, or maybe they both are, like keen fishermen as well. And I was like, I'll have a look. I bet they'll have some scissors in that shop. And they did, in the fishing section. So these are my fishing braid scissors. They're really sharp. They are really sharp. And they look just like embroidery scissors to me. But they are fishing braid scissors. So there you go. There you go. They cost me like £3.99 or something. They were really cheap. They're really good scissors. Really good scissors. Right, there you go. That's that one. Number 5. Right, where are we time-wise? Oh, I'm never going to finish this in one sitting, am I? Right, then we move on to the things I started in Stitch Mania 2020. 2020 was the first year I had done Stitch Mania. We were in the depths of lockdown. My children were all at home doing homeschooling. It was not great, if I'm honest, homeschooling for us. Their school, they were all at the same school at that point. One of them wasn't even at school at that point. You know, the school put together a whole like online curriculum and everything, but I'm glad I didn't work. I'm glad I don't work, put it that way. That was the only way lockdown worked in our house. So I did Stitch Mania whilst homeschooling my children through lockdown. One of my children basically, unless I literally sat next to them the whole day, would not have done any of the work. So these were all started in that context. And what I started on the 1st of May 2020 was, I shall show you, Real Comfort by Modern Folk Embroidery. At that point, must be said, staying home was nothing like Real Comfort. It really, really wasn't. So I kind of semi-started this semi-ironically. Where have I got to? So it's come out a few times over the intervening years. Just under halfway. Well, probably that's a bit ambitious. Just under halfway at the top bit, perhaps. But it does actually stitch up pretty quick when you get going on it. So again, this is one that I would perhaps like to finish this year. Is that possible? I think it's probably possible. This is stitched on 40 count antique white linen in a Silks for You. The green is Silks for You. I think PR011, PR011. And the reason I say I think is, I think I've told this story before. When I bought a few hanks of Silks for You, and they all come in these plastic bags with a number written on them. And one of my children took them all out and threw them around the room. And so I think I matched the silks back to the bags, but I'm never 100% sure on that one. So yeah, Stitch Mania 2020, as you will see over the next few whips, was very much the year of 40 count antique white. I mean, fabrics were hard to get, weren't they, in lockdown? But I don't know. I was clearly just... That's where things were. This is kept in my first ever fancy project bag. And it's a not House of Stitch and Stuff, Penelope Pocket project bag. And it's this Pride and Prejudice fabric, which is just fabulous. And just, I was like, when I saw it, I was like, I have to have that for my real comfort. There it is. So that's WIP 6. I haven't been telling you how much stitching some of these had last year. That got no stitching last year at all. None. I'll try and remember to do that as we go along now. None last year. The next thing I've actually also got no stitching last year. It's in a House of Stitch and Stash project bag. This was again Stitch Mania 2020 start, and this was started on the 7th of May 2020, and it was Cottage Garden Samplings Forever and Ever. I love this chart. Everyone's stitched this chart, haven't they? Everyone has stitched this. It's beautiful. I have all this series. I'd love to stitch them all. Given that I haven't managed to start much of the first one, we live in hope. We live in hope. Here is where I am. I've done one bird, basically. I don't think there's any way on God's earth I can finish this year. Not with the other things I have to get finished this year, just for my own sanity. So I suspect this one will be joining me next year, but maybe this will become a focus for next year, because I think by then it will be one of my oldest WIPs. Every time I see this, I have a heart attack that I haven't got enough fabric. But I have measured and remeasured and triple measured, and apparently I do. But I always look at it and go, oh, it doesn't look very much. It doesn't, does it? It doesn't look very much. Anyway, I keep measuring and it keeps telling me I have, so I have to trust it. I'm stitching it in all the called 4 weeks dye works, which are there and beautiful. And I'm stitching it on some Picture This Plus, I think. I'm not stitching it on the called for. I'm stitching it on Picture This Plus 36 count dapple. I do love it. I do love it. It is on my WIP Go board for, I think I've said a week. Give it a week. I reckon I could probably get the other bird done in a week. Anyway, we'll see where we get to. Maybe I could get that tulip done there. What do you think? It's perfect for this time of year as well, because all the... Is that meant to be an unopened hellebore? It looks a bit like a tulip. I love it. All my hellebores are starting to bud, and they'll all be flowering in the next couple of weeks. Oh, beautiful. I do love a hellebore. Do love a hellebore. That's the other name for Christmas rose. I just saw Forever and Ever is also, their subtitle is Northern Cardinals and Christmas Rose, which is the other name for a hellebore. I tend to call them hellebores, not Christmas roses. Right, so that's that one. Would love to get to that this year. The next couple are a little bit embarrassing. You know, there's some of those WIPs that we all have and are just a bit embarrassed about. Actually, having looked at the things I have left from Stitch Mania 2020, only 2 of them are antique white linen. I must have finished everything else that was on antique white linen. And the next one is not on antique white linen. And I think some people are going to be shocked that after nearly 4 years, this hasn't had more love than it has. What is this? This is... It's a Barbarana. I don't think many people have Barbaranas kicking around for 4 years, do they? But I do. This is Light by Barbarana, which was it was a freebie. I assume it's still a freebie. If I can find it on her website, I will link it below. But it was a freebie during lockdown. And well, you'll see. This is where I am. Oh, that's embarrassing, isn't it? So I've got a fox's ear and the start of their, well, the neckline of their dress and their arm, and that is it. As you can see, I haven't done it in the called for colour. I had this in, I think it was in Stash during the, I didn't buy it anyway, so yeah, it must have gone from Stash. And this is it's a 28 count a 28 count opalescent Owl's Dark Magic by Chromatic Alchemy, and I thought this looked just like a starry night, and I was like, yes, I'm going to put her on that, and she'll be carrying her lantern, and it's going to look fabulous, and it will look fabulous if I ever stitch on it. I think the sparkle shows up better on dark fabric, and I don't particularly stitch on opalescent. I don't particularly like it. It can make my eyes go a bit doolally. But so therefore I had to do a colour conversion to make sure that, because her dress on this is quite it's like a dark grey colour, and I'm like, well, that will not show on the fabric. So I changed her dress to this, I think it's DMC 598. It's like a tealy turquoisey colour, which I think will stand out much better. That got no stitching last year. Again, I think I've put that on my WIP Go board for a week. Maybe it'll get finished. It's not great for out and about stitching just because of the light. Ironic, it's called light, just because of the fabric and light issue, and I'm often stitching in kind of a gloomy car, so I don't have a lot of light. Maybe I'll take it to retreat or something, because if I outlined that dress, it's a lot of just filling. That's a possibility. Maybe you'll come to Essex Needles with me in March. I'll have a think on that one. And the next one also got 0 days stitching last year, and was also started, if I didn't say light, was started on the 16th of May 2020, and this was started on the 20th of May 2020, so this is the last day of Stitch Mania for me, 2020, and it's hands-on design, good ships and wood ships. Like, what's it called? Good Ship Sampler. Oh. But it's like good ships and wood ships. And again, this was 40 count antique white linen. And this is my like super great start on it. Yeah. That is shameful, isn't it? That is shameful. It's nearly 4 years old. And that is not even a big stitch. 144 by 104. Like, if that just got a bit of attention, and most of its words, like, you could crack that out pretty quickly, couldn't you? That is not a lot of stitching. I did a colour conversion on it. So this was from Stash. The Gentle Arts. Oh, picnic basket. I've just bought a skein of picnic basket. I don't know. How did I? Oh. Gentle Arts, Classic Colourworks, and Colour and Cotton again. So a whole range of things in there. There we go. Right, so that was the end of Stitch Mania 2020, and then I just have one more WIP left over from 2020. This is WIP number 10. WIP number 10, and this was my birthday start in 2020. And it is Strawberry Sampler by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. I can never remember if it's needlework or needle art. And I'm stitching the big main sampler here. So this was a stitch along organised by Sue from Peakside, and she kitted it. You had to sign up to Sal, and she kitted it all up and sent it out to you, and she did a really lovely job. And I did get this out last year because I went back, there was a Facebook group for it. Excuse me. And I went back onto the group and I'm like, hey, is anyone still going on this? Is it just me? And a few people were. And I think I got a little bit of a renaissance on it. So if you joined in with me, whenever it was, March or April last year, on trying to get a bit more love on this, thank you very much. Anyway, so here is where I am. So still a long way to go here. But I think I'd only finished this top line of alphabet at the beginning of last year. So I kind of finished that top alphabet and then did this row, that green row, I don't know if you can see, is all Smyrnas. And then started this alphabet, which is all eyelets. I'd never done eyelets before. Actually, I don't think I did a bad job. So yeah, eyelets just take a while, don't they? That's the problem with them. They just take a little while. So I hope I'll get some done on that this year. I did enjoy it when I stitched on it. It's very pretty. It's not in my like normal colours. Pinks are not a colour I would usually stitch on. I'm stitching it on 40 count Newcastle in light mocha, and these are the threads, or week's dye works, I think they're called for. And when Sue kissed it up, she did us a really nice little strawberry scissor fob. The scissors are already mine, but that's the strawberry scissor fob. Do you know what? I lost a pair of scissors last year. I'm pretty sure in my own house. Like where I stitch, I sit on the sofa, and there's a bookcase. And I thought one night I just dropped them like down between the edge of the sofa and the bookcase. They've gone. I have no idea where they are. I don't even know where they came. They were like a bronzy colour little. They weren't the greatest scissors in the world. The scissors in some respects are no great loss. But I just, you know, it's just one of those puzzles. I just do not know where they went. Anyway, this is in a House Stitch and Stash project bag. I don't know how much attention that will get this year, but so I expect that will come with me into next year. But you never ever know. Right, I'm going to have to stop in a minute. I'll see if I can get through most of 2021. And then I'll have to stop and I'll have to maybe come back tomorrow and finish off. Right, this is in another House of Stitch and Stash project bag, and this is from Stitch Mania 2021. In fact, 3 of the things I'm about to show you are from Stitch Mania 2021. So this House of Stitch and Stash project bag, and what is kept in here is a piece from Sewing Club book by Blackbird Designs. This is a really lovely book. My children bought me this for Mother's Day with some obviously prompting one year. And I am doing the first project in the book, which is the Rose Hips and Ivy drum pin keep. That is the only picture of it in the book. And I had a really good start on this the start of last year. I did some really good stitching on this. And I kind of thought it might be a finish last year, but I never managed to get back to it. But I got, I got further in my head than I thought. So this is where I got to. So yeah, I've really got quite a long way. The border I think is finished, or if not finished, then very, very nearly finished. That bird's done, that basket motif's done. This basket needs a bit of finishing, and then one motif at the end, and just the top. That is really not far off, is it? I think that needs to move up my priority list for this year, because that could be finished really quickly, I think. Really, really quickly. Okay. Oh, I feel like I might have made a mistake in this basket somewhere and fudged it, so I'll have to have a look when I get back to it. That's not the end of the world. Yeah, that is lovely and close to a finish. That is really close to a finish. I wonder why I put it down. I must have wanted to get on with something else, or maybe it was when I was still doing WIP Go. Yeah, there's really not a lot left to do there. Yeah, the border is essentially finished by the looks of things. Right, okay, new plan, that's coming out soon. That is coming out soon. This is stitched on a piece of Fox and Rabbit. I'll tell you. 36 count hog bristle. I'm stitching it in all the called for week's dye works. It's a really cute little pair of scissors in there. Look at these little stalky. I don't know where they came from. Very nice. Very nice. So yeah, that's that one. So that was started on the 2nd of May 2021, and I think could soon be a finish. The next one will not soon be a finish. This was started on, apparently I stitched on Rose Hips and Ivy for 12 days last year, so it got a decent amount of stitching. The next one was started on the 5th of May 2021. There's nowhere near a finish. And this is Etude with Strawberries by Luca S. Designs. I love this. I love it so much. I have a few of these like still live fruit things. This one is not reflected how much I love it in how much stitching it's had on it. don't even know which way up this goes. That way up. There. I started in the middle and I have done that. That is it. That sad little start is it. I got as a kit, I think it came with 18 count Ada. I swapped that for 36 count linen, and I'm using all the threads that came in the kit, which were anchor threads. That has got a way to go. That will be coming with me into next year. Maybe I'll get some stitching this year. It's not on my WIP Go board though. Don't know. It's lovely though, isn't it? It is lovely. I need some love. And the next one's a pretty similar story, and was started the day after. It was started on the 6th of May 2021. Why did I start this in Stitch Mania? Jesus. It's the Dimensions Gold kit, English Castle. I like it because it's clearly based on Scotney Castle, which is just over the border in East... Is it Kent or is it just over the border in East Sussex? Can never remember. It's a National Trust property. Very nice. Highly recommend a visit if you're in the area. And I definitely won't know which way up this is meant to go. Let's have a look. I think it's that way. There. Yeah. I'm doing all the called for kit stuff with this. I'm actually using the Ada in the kit because it's pretty much full coverage. And I'm using the kit fabric. And there's my very, very sad little start on that one. Don't start massive things in Stitch Mania. It's my problem, all my projects are massive. Right, my camera stops filming after half an hour, don't know why. So although I've still got one 2021 WIP to show you, I only have 30 seconds left and I also need to go to school. So I'm going to say goodbye here and I will come back tomorrow, not that you will know because it's all the same to you, and I will show you the remaining 15 WIPs. So that was WIP number 13 and we've got 15 more to go. So I will see you again tomorrow to finish off. Bye. Hi Flosstube, I am back. It's now Friday the 26th of January, hence costume change. So I didn't have time to finish yesterday. I'm hoping I can sit down and finish now, but I'm now aware that Friday's getting a little bit away from me too. So hopefully this won't stretch over 3 days. I don't think any of us need that. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to plough in because I've got a very exciting trip to go on later. We can all agree that's something to be excited about. So where I left you yesterday, I'd got to my last WIP of 2021. And I didn't have time to show you that before I had to dash. So what is that? My last WIP of 2021 started on... Well, not the last WIP I started that year, but the last WIP I still have going from 2021. Started on the 12th of June was the Little Women's Sale, again by Stitching Book Club. And this, I know this has got like barely anything done on it. I just know it has. Ooh, wow, that's a start and a half. There we go. Yeah, great effort. I'm stitching this on 40 count antique white linen in all the called for. Why did this get put down? Not sure. I think I saw someone else's on Instagram and they'd done this colour conversion and I was like, that is an awesome colour conversion. I wish I'd done that. So given there's so little done, maybe that's a restart. Do I like it enough to bother restarting it? Don't really like Little Women in the book. Don't know. Could end up in the UFO pile along with Seasonal Streets, couldn't it? I don't know. I'll leave that and have a little think about. And that was everything from 2021. Right, so now we're on to 2022. This is where I have kind of the bulk of my WIPs are. So my first one, which is in this House of Stitch and Stash project bag, was started on New Year's Day, so the 1st of January 2021, and I don't think I have stitched on it again since that day. I think this has been stitched on one day ever, and that is it. Oh, and all the threads are stuck to this. Oh my lord. Okay, there's a vinyl fronted project bag, and I've never had this before. Anyway, so that's what it is. It's Tree of Life by Barbara Anna, and that's stuck to the front cover of the vinyl, and then all the threads have been stuck to that. Might throw that cover sheet away, and I've never had that before. Anyway, this is a kit by Knit Moscow, which obviously you can't get at the moment because you can't buy their products. This is where I got to. I'm pretty sure that was the progress I made that New Year's Day, and it has never been stitched on since. It's with all the kit stuff, so the kit threads, which I think are DMC, and the kit fabric. I think there's two reasons this hasn't been stitched on. One practical, there's a pair of scissors in there. One practical and one kind of irrational emotional. So the first is that if you've ever bought a Knit Moscow kit, they come in those tubes and the charts are quite big. So while it's 32 count and would be ideal for out and about stitching, it's not, because the chart is massive. So that's reason one. And then reason two is I started it on New Year's Day 2022, and then obviously in February Russia invaded Ukraine, and it was like, you know, I know Barbara Anna's not Russian, and I know Putin invading Ukraine, like, has literally nothing to do with Knit Moscow, but I just didn't want to stitch on it. Anyway, so I think that's over, and I do like it, so perhaps it needs to come out this year. I don't think there's anything from 2022 on my WIP Go board. I kind of want to get the old stuff finished, so that's more my priority. But yeah, I think some of these will get a run out. Definitely some of them. So that's what that is. And that's WIP 15, and it had no stitching on it last year. Well, as I said, because I haven't stitched on it since the day I started it, which is now 2 years ago. There we go. Okay, WIP number 16 was started on the 6th of March 2020. This is number 16, and also had 0 days stitching last year, and is kept in this absolutely fantastic Penelope's Pocket Project bag. And this was part of, I'll show you what it is. So it's Mushroom Meadow by Stitchy Princess Black, and this was started as part of the Stitch for Ukraine set. I just found a picture one of my kids has drawn in here. Oh, look at that. Don't know when that got put in there. One of my children's a very keen cartoonist. Anyway, so yes, so I haven't stitched on this for a while. I did a full colour conversion on this. So it's stitched on a piece of 32 count Belfast linen in Mossy Ruins by Crafty Kitten. That is where I am. It's not huge amounts of progress. And I really liked the colours on this sheet, but this isn't very, the printing on this isn't very true to colour. So when I pulled the DMC that's called for, it was more kind of orangey browny palette. So I did a full-blown colour conversion into Classic Colourworks Colour and Cotton. Yeah, Classic Colourworks and Colour and Cotton. I hope I wrote down where they all go. Did old Rachel, did past Rachel take pity on future Rachel, or I just... Yes, I did. I wrote down my colour conversion. Ah. So I think this one will probably come out as some out and about stitching. I'm a bit short on out and about stitching projects. So I definitely think this one will probably get a go at some point this year in an out and about stitching slot. But that hasn't been touched in a while either, and again, fairly small start. Okay, now we're on to things I started in Stitch Mania 2020. So number 17, which again had no stitching last year, was started on the 12th of May. This will give you a clue what it is. It's kept in this amazing Teresa Koga project bag by Penelope's Pocket. And it's from this book, and it's called My Big Bird And it's this one that's on the front cover. I don't think this has got much of a start on it either. I really don't. No, it doesn't. It's very sad. Ow. Stab myself with a needle. That's it. That is it. It's nearly 2 years old. This is stitched on a piece of 40 count linen that I walnut dyed myself. And I'm stitching it in not the called for, I'm stitching it in an over dyed conversion that the lady who did the model stitched. It's charted in DMC, but if you look at that picture, that is clearly not stitched in DMC. And the lady who stitched the model's name is in the book, and I found her on Instagram, and she very kindly supplied me with the conversion she had used. So that is what I am stitching in, if I ever get around to stitching on it. I really love it, so I really want to. Some of these WIPs from 2022 I really love, and they've just not had attention. It's really bad, really bad. Right, the next one's another one that fits into that category, again from Stitch Mania. So this was started on the 14th of May 2022. Again, had no stitching on it last year. It's in a Penelope's Pocket project bag. I love this. It is a Pennsylvania bird by Hello from Liz Matthews. This is in a very similar state to the last one you just saw. And this one's so bad that I don't even have all the threads in here. I haven't even kitted it up properly. I don't even know which way round it goes. I'd like to say. I'm not actually. There. That is it. Oh, that's bad. That is really bad. It's stitched on a piece of 40 count linen by, I think, Foxglove and Lace Linen, who I don't think are dyeing anymore. They're saying clotted cream, 40 count clotted cream by Foxglove and Lace. And I'm stitching it in the called for DMC. And that is what 2 years of effort gets you. Really bad. Really bad. I should not start anything again, ever. This is shameful. I think these ones are the ones that are particularly kind of neglected, if I'm honest. Okay, next one, Esther Cannon. I did stitch on this a little bit last year. I don't know how much, because at various points of the year I stopped recording things properly, but I do know I stitched on this for some time. So this is, let me find the picture, it's from this book, Heartstring Samplery, Small Samplings. It's a nice book. I think there's 5 charts in here, 5 or 6. And it's the first one in the book, it's this one, Esther Cannon. It's very pretty. I started this on the 17th of May 2022. I don't know if I said that. I can't remember what I said today. No, I haven't. And I can't even find her on this massive piece of fabric. Here she is. So she hasn't had loads done, but she is slowly ticking along. Slowly ticking along. And she's not massive. I'm doing this in none of the called for. The fabric, this huge piece of fabric is, what is it? Can I tell you? Do I know? Should I have a tag on because it's Chromatic Alchemy? I just can't find the tag. Yes, here we go. 32 count linen in Florin by Chromatic Alchemy. And I think it's charted in 2 Weeks Dye Works colours that I didn't have in stash. So I'm using Wood Smoke and Arugula from, well, Wood Smoke is Gentle Art and Arugula is Colour and Cotton. The only thing I would say is about my Arugula from Colour and Cotton, in fact I don't even know if it's colour they dye anymore, but I have a few skeins of Arugula and the other 2 are kind of a purpley colour, and when I've seen other people show Arugula it's looked purpley, so I don't know if that's mislabelled, but that's what it says, but I'm not convinced it is. So she got a few days last year, so maybe she'll get a few more days this year. And then the next one, again, are we still in Stitch Mania? Yeah, we're still in Stitch Mania for the next few of these. Sorry, they're all falling over now in the how I'd organise them. And now they're getting difficult to get out. So this was started the very next day on the 18th. And again, had some stitching last year. This is in a very cool Penelope Pockets project bag. It's one of the ones without a vinyl front. It's not Teresa Kogut though, it just happens to be a Teresa Kogut bag. This is Sampler in blue and green from Little Robin Designs. That's that. I am not, however, doing mine in blue and green. This is where I am. So I finished the outside border. And I finished that top row of alphabet. So we are getting there. Mine is obviously in blue and gold. And again, this is a colour conversion job. It's stitched on something from the Crafty Kitten. Fallen Leaf, 32 count Fallen Leaf. And scissors in here as well. And here is my colour conversion. So it's kind of obviously some blues and then some golds. And they are all Gentle Art, I think. No, one colour and cotton and the rest are Gentle Art. Yeah. There we go. So that's that one. I think that could be a finish this year. If I put my mind to it. There's not a huge amount in there. It's not a massive design. And again, 32 count, so out and about stitching, potentially. Maybe a retreat one as well. Just some letters. Might go into a retreat, that. Okay. This next one has definitely not had any stitching. This is the one that is not like anything else in my whole stash. If you've been here before, you probably know what it is. For anyone who's not been here before, I don't stitch fancy ladies. It's just not my jam. If you love a fancy lady, fair play to you, but just not for me. I can't see me putting them on the walls in my house or anything like that. But this, that I started on the 19th of May 2022, is a Mirabilia. And there's one really, really big reason that I am stitching her. And you either see it or you don't. I don't think she's had any love since, again, the day I started her. She's on a piece of, I don't know what she's on. This Crafty Kitten one again. 32 count Murano, so it's an even weave in Icicle. It's an opalescent. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see this. I think I've had trouble showing this before. So the linen is actually a very pale blue, not white. It's a very sparkly, very pale blue. Right in the middle, there are some white stitches. Can you see those? That's it. That is the whole start. And it's her neck. So I started in the middle, it's like part of her neck. I'm not doing any like over one skin or anything. That is not, we're not stitching this to look fancy. We're stitching this because it makes me giggle because I am actually 12. Yeah. It's going to cause my eldest huge amounts of embarrassment. It's so embarrassing, Mum. So embarrassing. So that's had no love recently either. I've got all the stuff, so I've got all the... I've never stitched a Mirabilia. It's just started in a load of colours that I never use. So all the pinks and purples. And I've got this massive bead pack of beads for, I don't know, some future point, but you have to stick beads on it. Okay, and then the last one from Stitch Mania that year that is outstanding was started on the last day of Stitch Mania, so it's 22nd of May 2022. It's in this amazing project bag, again by Penelope's Pocket, and this does give you a big clue as to what's in it. I know this is another pitiful start as well, but what is in it is the fox. We all know the fox. How good is that project bag for that project? Love the fox. Do you want to see where I am? A bit of a tree. A bit of a tree. I think I partly struggled with this because it's a 40 count picture, this plus. Oh my word, it's tight. Oh yeah, it's much smaller than 40 count. Much smaller. I really struggled with it, I think. And I was doing it in hand. I think I need to put this on a Q-snap. I just need to get some tension in it and put it on a Q-snap. But yeah, I think it's the start of very sad start of this tree up here. I'm stitching it in all the called for. All the called for. So there's a tour through my very sad remnant projects of Stitch Mania 2022. I just have 2 more projects left over from 2022. Both of which I think are equally as pitiful. 2022 was clearly the year I started loads of stuff and just didn't follow through on any of it. So, WIP number 23, which again got no stitching last year, is Maria Wenoaria by Queenstown Samplers. Started this for Crafting Kirsty's birthday. This was the Wonky Donkey Sal or something like that. It's, let's show you where I am. It's massive. Like, look at this piece of fabric. It's huge. And I am there. Do you know what? There's a bit more done on it than I thought, but no one's going to say it's a lot. I think this must be a 36 count because I'm stitching it with 2 strands. I know, I'm one of those weirdos that likes 2 strands on 36 count. It's not a 32 count, it must be a 36 count. And I'm stitching it in 2 strands. I'm using DMC. And I dyed the fabric myself. It's kind of a very pale grungy green. Don't know when that's coming back out, and it is properly massive. It's properly massive. Yeah, I've done like what, one of those angels right in the centre. Let's go. It's going to be a WIP for a while. It's going to be a WIP for a while. So I started that with Crafting Kirsty for her birthday. And then the other one that I'm still outstanding from that year, which I'm going to show you next, is my birthday start that I started with Crafting Kirsty. So this is from September, beginning of September 2022, with number 24. Crafting Kirsty, if you want to see how this is beautiful and what it looks like with a bit more stitching on, go over and watch Crafting Kirsty because she's done loads. But it's with the needle too, by Lila's Studio. I bought this on a D-stash, I think, without, I really like it, but without any real intention of starting it. And Crafting Kirsty was like, I have that and I love it. Let's start it for your birthday. So I was like, all right. So we did. This is 30. This is on 38 count latte by, again, I think Foxglove and Lace Linen. Actually, again, more done than I thought. Not loads, but more done than I thought. So I started in the middle and did the middle border. And I'm stitching it in all the called for classic colours. I don't know why they're on 2 separate rings, but they are. There you go. And again, it's in a lovely project bag from Penelope's Pocket. Also with some scissors that she does sell on her website. But Sarah from Penelope's Pocket gave those to me for my birthday that year. So they're with my birthday new start and will remain with my birthday new start until the day it's eventually finished or I die. I don't know which of those is going to come first, realistically. Okay, and that wraps up 2022. So we're now on 2023, so everything you see from now on, you've never seen on a WIP Parade before, because it's all started since the last WIP Parade. And there's not much. I have 2 from 2023 and 2 that I started already this year. So, 2023. And these were started a day apart. So, in this amazing bag, which I showed on my last Flosstube, and in this bag, again, since my last Flosstube, and it hasn't changed since my last Flosstube, is Pendle Hill by Samplers and Stitchers. I won't spend ages on this one because you saw it last time. And that's where I am. It's stitched on 36 count Weeks Dye Works Grey, and I'm stitching it in all the called for, which is a complete mix of like DMC and Weeks and Gast and all kinds of things. I love that one. I'm very much hoping that one will be a finish this year. There's not a huge amount left to do on that. Very, very much like that project. And then the next one left over from 2024, which will 2023, sorry, which will definitely not be finished this year, or again, maybe in my lifetime, is Bobbing Boat Harbour Tenby. Artwork is by Dorian Spencer Davis, and it's charted by Gecko Rouge. This is obviously a Gecko Rouge kit. Gecko Rouge only sell kits. And I started this on my birthday. And this is where I am. I haven't even got a page finish yet. So yeah, but I really quite liked it. I can't get on with parking, I don't think. I don't think parking is for me. But I did enjoy it. So I need to get back onto that. I don't know when. But I do. So that's what I've got left in 2023. Didn't start a lot in 2023. I think did I say I had 6 starts, and I did finish most of it. And like some of those was like I did a Valentine's stitch for my husband. I did a retreat swap piece. I did the advent countdown. So I didn't do a lot, you see. I don't think I started anything for the first half of the year, apart from the Valentine's piece for my husband. Okay, in 2023, what have I started this year? Two things. So the first one is in this Ness's Craft Room project bag that I bought when I went to stitch in London, and it is the Twin Bird Pincushion by Girl with the Gavel Stitches, Chloe Wood. And again, I showed this on my last Flosstube, so you know you heard all about it, but it's stitched on some 36 count platinum by What Zweigart, and I've done the top of the pincushion so far, so I need to do the sides and the back and then finish it. And I'm stitching that in a Gast distressed denim and a Cottage Garden Threads silver fur. So that's that one. I think that will be a finish this year. And the final WIP I have is in my new Penelope's Pocket project bag, which has dancing cats on it. And then look at the front, look at like that mad fabric on the front, which is perfect. Do you know why it's perfect? Because in here, I don't have a cover sheet, I'm afraid. I have my, because it doesn't have one, Roz Clark Craft Celebration of Colour Cell. I finished part 2, which has been released. And part 3 comes out tomorrow, which is red orange, I think. And now they're coming out every week. So this is the point at which I kind of completely fall off the wagon. But they have been easy to keep up with so far. So this is a cell kind of celebrating the colour wheel. You pick your own colour wheel. This is mine on DMC. And then Roz is releasing a part on her Instagram. Now on it's every week. But you can still jump on that. If you want to jump on it, head over to Roz Clark Craft. Watch the video where she explains like the colour wheel. And then it's a free sale. So you just need to get your colour wheel and your fabric. And off you go. And that is everything. So I know it's been a bit of a whistle stop through those last kind of 15 WIPs, but I don't feel there's a huge amount to say about them, and also they're not really in my plans for this year. Some of them hopefully will make it on to kind of the stitching rotation and round, and I don't rule anything out at this point in the year, but they're not in like the official plans. If there's any information that I left out or you want to know, just drop me a line here on Instagram, or direct message me on Instagram. You can send me an email message on here. I'm waffling. I hope to be back next week with a proper Flosstube. But in the meantime, if you have managed to sit through an hour and a half of this, thanks. wow. And if you are new here, I hope you enjoyed it and you'll like it and hit the subscribe button. And until I see you hopefully next week, see you later, Stitchers. Bye.